As you float through the quiet, infinite sea of space, you feel the weight of the silence, not an empty silence, but one filled with possibilities. It is in this silence that humanity's dreams are born, quietly reaching beyond the stars, searching for something familiar in the vast unknown. You feel that pull, soft but constant, the same pull that has called to explorers for centuries, guiding them into uncharted realms. The quest to find another Earth is not a recent one. It has existed in the heart of humankind for as long as we've gazed up at the night sky. It is the quiet whisper in the back of your mind, the thought that we are not alone in this great, vast universe. Every generation that has come before you has shared this same longing, this same sense of curiosity. What lies beyond the stars? What would it feel like to find a world distant and yet so familiar, a place where life could blossom once more? As you drift deeper, you begin to understand the scale of this journey, the sheer vastness of space, the infinite number of stars that fill the sky, each one a potential sun, each one the center of its own little world. And yet, amidst this infinite sea of light, there is one thing that keeps the dream alive, the possibility of finding another Earth, a twin planet, where the conditions are just right for life to exist, where water flows freely across the surface, and where, perhaps, something or someone might be looking up at the stars, just as you are now. The beauty of this quest is not just in the search itself, but in the understanding that we are a small part of a much larger cosmic dance. Just as the Earth orbits its sun, so to do countless other planets orbit their stars, silently moving through space, each one with its own potential, its own story to tell. You sense this, as if the universe itself is a vast tapestry, woven with the threads of countless worlds, each one waiting to be discovered, each one holding the promise of something new. As the dream of another Earth pulls at your heart, you are reminded of the fragility of life on this planet. Earth, in all its beauty and complexity, is the only home we know. It is a delicate balance of elements, water, air, and sunlight, that allow life to thrive. But the question lingers, could there be another world out there in the great expanse, where the same balance exists, where life, in some form, could flourish? And if that world exists, what would it be like? What would it feel like to stand on that distant shore, gazing up at the same stars you see now, knowing that somewhere in the vastness of the universe there is a twin to your home? You imagine these distant worlds, each one with its own unique character, its own story. Some may be barren, their surfaces scorched by the heat of their sun, while others may be cloaked in clouds, hiding their true nature from our view. Some may be covered in vast oceans, while others may be rocky and dry. And yet, no matter the form they take, these exoplanets share one thing in common. They are part of the same cosmic web, connected by the invisible threads of gravity and time. As you ponder these possibilities, you realize that the search for another Earth is not just about finding a place where life might exist. It is about understanding our place in the universe, about reaching out and touching the unknown. Each discovery we make brings us closer to understanding who we are, where we come from, and where we might be going. It is a journey that speaks to the deepest parts of us, to the desire for connection, for discovery, for something more. The beauty of this quest lies in its simplicity. It is not about the destination, but the journey itself. With each new discovery, we inch closer to answering the question that has haunted us for centuries. Are we alone in this universe? And as you float in this cosmic sea, surrounded by the endless stretch of space, you realize that the answer may not be as important as the search itself. For it is in the searching, in the dreaming, that we find our place in this vast, beautiful universe. And as your thoughts begin to quiet, a new question arises, one that has been quietly waiting in the distance. What if we already know the answer? What if the stars themselves are trying to show us something, something hidden just beyond our reach? Perhaps, just as you are reaching out, the universe is quietly reaching back. The journey of discovery continues, ever unfolding. With each star we study, each planet we find, we are slowly moving toward the answer to the question that has guided us for so long. But the universe is vast, and the real adventure may not lie in the discovery, but in the quiet spaces in between. What might the stars be whispering to us, hidden in the cosmic dust, waiting for us to hear? The silence of space is not empty. It is not the absence of sound, but the presence of something deeper, something that vibrates beneath the surface, just beyond the reach of your senses. You float in this quiet sea, surrounded by the soft glow of distant stars. The universe hums around you, each star pulsing with its own rhythm, each planet moving in its own quiet orbit, creating a melody that stretches across the cosmos. You begin to feel it now, the subtle beat of the universe. It is not loud nor sharp, but gentle, as if space itself is breathing. The stars, burning brightly in the dark expanse, send out waves of energy, invisible ripples that travel through the emptiness, connecting everything. The planets that orbit them, each one unique, each one following its own path, contribute to this cosmic song. The orbits are their notes, their paths like musical scales, all weaving together in a symphony that stretches across the universe. Imagine, for a moment, that you are listening to a song that has no beginning and no end. The stars, those distant beacons of light, are not simply burning balls of gas. They are the composers of this cosmic symphony, sending their light and energy into the vastness, their pulsations creating rhythms that echo through the void. Some stars burn brightly and quickly, their lives like brief, intense crescendos. Others, older and wiser, burn steadily, their songs slow and deep, filling the silence with a long, comforting hum. Each note, each pulse, reverberates outward, touching the planets that orbit them. These planets, though still and silent in the vastness, are not inactive. They, too, add to the melody, their orbits around their stars, like the gentle flow of a river, a rhythm that guides them through the universe. The moons that orbit them, too, play their part. Their dance around the planets, a soft, steady beat that enhances the harmony. Together, the stars and their planets form a symphony of motion, of light and energy, a rhythm that has existed since the beginning of time. As you float deeper into this cosmic sea, you begin to understand that the universe is not chaotic. It is not random. There is a pattern, a delicate balance that holds everything together. The forces of gravity, the pull of the stars, the orbits of the planets, all work in harmony to create this celestial music. It is a symphony that plays out on a scale so vast that it is beyond our understanding. a song that has been unfolding for billions of years and will continue to play long after we are gone. And yet, this music is not just a background hum. It is the very fabric of the universe, shaping everything we know. The stars are not just points of light in the sky. They are the heartbeats of the cosmos. Their pulses create the rhythm that guides the movement of planets and moons, the ebb and flow of galaxies, the rise and fall of cosmic dust. This silent symphony is the pulse of existence itself, the rhythm that holds everything together, the music of the universe. You feel this rhythm now, in your own body, in your own heartbeat. It is not just the stars that pulse in time with the universe. You, too, are part of this cosmic music. Your own body, with its steady rhythm, is connected to the rhythm of the stars, the planets, and the galaxies. You are not separate from the universe. You are part of its song, its melody, its beat. And as you listen to the silent symphony of the stars, you begin to understand that you are not just a passive observer of the cosmos. You are an active participant in this dance, this music, this rhythm. The beauty of this realization is that the universe, in all its vastness, is not indifferent. It is a living, breathing entity, and you are a part of it. The stars are not distant, cold objects. They are the living notes of a cosmic song, and you are part of that song. Each breath you take is in time with the pulse of the stars. Each movement you make is part of the greater rhythm that holds everything together. As you drift through the vastness of space, you realize that the search for another Earth is not just about finding another planet to call home. It is about connecting to this larger cosmic symphony, about finding a place where the rhythm of life resonates with the rhythm of the stars. Perhaps, one day, we will find another world where the song of the universe plays as gently as it does here on Earth, a place where the silent music of the stars is felt as deeply as it is here, where life can thrive, and where the harmony of the cosmos will continue to unfold. But for now, you are here, listening to the soft hum of the universe, feeling the rhythm of the stars and planets all around you. You are part of this music, part of this rhythm, part of this silent symphony that has been playing for eons and will continue long after you are gone. The song of the stars is endless, and you are one small note in its infinite melody. As the cosmic symphony continues to play, you wonder what lies ahead. What if the next note we hear is the discovery of another Earth, another place where the music of the stars echoes with life? The rhythm of the universe is infinite, and with each note, we are brought closer to understanding its deepest mysteries. You are floating in space once again, but this time, something is different. You are not alone in this cosmic silence. Before you, a vast expanse of stars stretches out, each one a distant point of light, holding its own mysteries. But this time, the view is sharper, more focused. You are looking through the lens of human creation, a telescope, an eye into the vast unknown. It is a bridge between what is known and what is yet to be discovered. You can feel the weight of human curiosity that has led us to create this device, to turn our gaze upward and ask the universe, what lies beyond the stars? The first explorers of the sky had no telescope, no lens through which to see. Their gaze was pure, driven by wonder, their thoughts painted in the dark, uncharted void. And yet, with each advancement, with each innovation, we slowly began to understand that we were not looking into empty space, but into a cosmos full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. The telescope is a tool of patience and precision, for it does not offer its secrets freely. You must adjust, calibrate, focus, and wait. And with each careful motion, you bring the distant stars, the faraway planets, into sharper view. As you peer through this lens, you are part of a long tradition, a lineage of thinkers and dreamers who dared to ask, who dared to look. You are no longer simply observing the night sky as it once appeared. You are pulling the veil back, seeing the stars in their full majesty, glimpsing the worlds that orbit them. Worlds that once seemed so distant, so unreachable. Each exoplanet you find through the telescope's eye is a quiet victory, a small step forward in the journey of discovery. The planets are distant, their surfaces invisible to the naked eye, but they are there, just beyond our reach. Through the lens, you see their faint outlines, like shadows passing across a distant light. You begin to understand that the search for exoplanets is not simply about finding new worlds, but about understanding our place in the cosmos. It is about looking up and realizing that we are not alone in this vast universe, that there are others out there waiting to be discovered. As you watch the planets come into sharper view, their motions slow and deliberate. Each one is a small point of light, but together they form a vast, intricate web of movement and balance. The telescope reveals their orbits, their steady path through space, and for a moment, you feel as though you are connected to them. You are no longer simply an observer from afar. You are part of their journey, part of this cosmic dance that has been unfolding for billions of years. You watch as a distant planet crosses in front of its star, blocking out a small portion of its light. This is the method scientists use to detect exoplanets, the subtle dimming of light as the planet passes in front of its star, a tiny but significant signal that a world exists where once there was only space. You imagine the excitement, the thrill of that first discovery, of realizing that a distant world, once invisible, is now known, now part of the human story. Through the telescope's eye, you come to understand the patience required in the search for exoplanets. It is not a race. It is a slow, methodical process of watching, waiting, and listening. Each new discovery is a tiny piece of the puzzle, a subtle shift in our understanding of the universe. But these small discoveries accumulate, each one building upon the last, until one day we may find the answer to the question that has driven humanity for centuries. Are we alone? The telescope offers us a glimpse into the universe, but it also offers us something deeper, a sense of connection. Through it, we are able to see the stars, not as distant, unreachable lights in the sky, but as part of a larger, interconnected system. Each planet, each star, each galaxy is a note in the cosmic symphony that plays out across the vast expanse of space. And through the telescope, we are able to hear that music, faint and distant, but undeniably real, as you continue to observe the stars, the planets, and the galaxies through the telescope's eye. You feel the pull of something greater than yourself. The universe is vast, and yet, through this lens, it feels intimate, personal. You are a part of this cosmic story, a small, quiet participant in the unfolding drama of existence. And with each discovery, with each new world we find, we come a little closer to understanding not just the universe, but our place within it. As you peer deeper into the lens, the question grows, what will we find next? What secrets are still hidden out there, waiting to be uncovered? The telescope's eye is always searching, always waiting, always seeking the next discovery. And with each discovery, we are one step closer to answering the question that has been with us since the dawn of time. What lies beyond the stars? With each new discovery through the telescope's eye, you begin to wonder, what are these distant worlds trying to tell us? What if the next exoplanet we find holds the key to understanding not just the universe, but the very nature of life itself? As the search continues, the answers remain just out of reach, but the journey itself holds the promise of something extraordinary. You float in the quiet of space, surrounded by the gentle hum of the stars, when something catches your attention. It's subtle, barely noticeable at first. A faint shift in the glow of a distant star. It flickers, ever so slightly, like a soft breath in the universe, a delicate interruption in the steady light. And with that flicker, a secret is revealed there. Moving across the face of the star is a planet, a world, hidden in plain sight, whose presence was once unknown, now made visible through the soft, silent dance of light and shadow. You realize that this quiet moment, this tiny shift in light, is the key to discovering new worlds. The dance of light and shadow, a play so simple yet so profound. When a planet passes in front of its star, it casts a small shadow. This shadow is the faintest hint of a world, moving in a slow, deliberate orbit, hidden from view but undeniable in its presence. As the planet crosses in front of its star, it causes the star's light to dim just a little. It is a tiny change, a fraction of a fraction, but it is enough for us to notice. This is how we detect exoplanets, by listening to the rhythm of light as it bends and shifts, by watching the dance of shadows that reveals worlds beyond our reach. As you watch this delicate dance, you begin to understand how the universe, in its infinite vastness, is held together by these quiet, rhythmic movements. The stars and planets are not separate entities, but part of a larger cosmic ballet. Light and shadow are partners in this dance, each one supporting the other in a timeless performance. The light from a star shines outward, casting its glow across the void, while the planet moves in its orbit, crossing in front of the star and casting its shadow, revealing its presence to the waiting universe. You can almost feel the slow, graceful movement of the planets as they dance with their stars. The light dims, and for a brief moment, the universe holds its breath. And then, as the planet moves on, the light brightens once more, like the return of a note in a song. This dance is constant, unbroken, a never-ending rhythm that spans the vastness of space. Every time a planet crosses in front of its star, we are given a glimpse into this rhythm, a tiny moment when a world is revealed to us. It is not an easy thing to find these planets, for the change in light is so small, so subtle. But with patience and precision, we listen for these tiny changes, watching for the dance that will bring a world out of the shadows. The beauty of this method, the dance of light and shadow, is that it does not require us to see the planet itself. We do not need to look directly at the world. Instead, we observe the subtle effect it has on the light of the star. The way the light bends and dims, revealing a hidden presence. The planet is there, moving silently in the darkness, its shadow a testament to its existence. And through the quiet dance of light and shadow, we discover it as you float in space. Watching this cosmic performance, you feel a deep sense of awe. There is something almost sacred in this quiet dance. The stars, ancient and distant, are not simply burning balls of gas. They are the stage for a grand, silent performance, a play that has been unfolding for billions of years. And the planets, moving in their orbits, are the dancers, each one performing its own graceful movement, casting shadows that reveal their secrets to those who are patient enough to listen. The dance of light and shadow is more than just a method of discovery. It is a reminder that the universe is full of hidden beauty, waiting to be uncovered. Each tiny shift in light, each subtle change in the rhythm, holds the promise of a new world, a new discovery. The universe is vast, and yet, through the dance of light and shadow, we are able to see the invisible, to uncover the hidden worlds that orbit distant stars. As you continue to observe this cosmic dance, you feel the quiet thrill of discovery. With each new planet that crosses in front of its star, you are reminded that there is always more to learn, more to see. The universe is not a silent, empty void. It is full of movement, full of rhythm, full of hidden worlds waiting to be found. And through the dance of light and shadow, we are given the privilege of glimpsing these worlds, of joining the dance for a brief moment before they slip back into the shadows once more. And yet, this dance raises a new question: what lies beyond the shadow? If a planet can be revealed through the subtle change in light, then what secrets do the shadows themselves hold? Perhaps, as we listen to the dance, we can begin to hear the whispers of the unseen, the worlds that are still hidden, waiting for their turn in the light. As the dance of light and shadow continues, a new thought forms quietly in the background. What happens when the shadows hold more than we can see? Are there worlds hidden in the darkest corners of space, waiting for their moment to be revealed? The rhythm of the universe beckons, and the next step in the dance waits for us just beyond the horizon. You float weightlessly in the soft expanse of space, surrounded by the silent twinkling of distant stars. There is something calming in the quiet, something that draws you deeper into the fabric of the universe. As you drift, the question of what makes a planet suitable for life rises quietly in your mind. What is it that allows life to flourish? What is the secret to a world like Earth? The answer, it seems, is all about balance, the perfect balance of conditions that make life possible. This balance exists in a delicate zone around a star, where temperatures are just right, neither too hot nor too cold. This zone is called the Goldilocks zone, a term that evokes the tale of the porridge that was neither too hot nor too cold, but just right. Just like the porridge, the planets in this zone are not too close to their star, where the heat would scorch them, nor too far away, where the cold would freeze everything. They are in the sweet spot, a place where liquid water can exist on the surface, a key ingredient for life as we know it. As you drift deeper into this understanding, you begin to imagine the perfect balance. Imagine a planet orbiting its star, far enough away to avoid being burned by its heat, yet close enough to bask in its warmth. The planet spins slowly, its surface bathed in the glow of its sun, but not too much. The warmth is just enough to keep the water flowing, to keep the air at a perfect, breathable temperature. There, in the Goldilocks zone, life can begin. A small shift in the planet's orbit, a tiny change in the intensity of the star's light, could mean the difference between a thriving world and a barren one. You can almost feel the balance yourself. Imagine standing on the surface of such a planet, where the sun shines gently, warming the earth beneath your feet, while the cool breeze of the atmosphere brushes against your skin. There is a comfort in this equilibrium, a sense of peace in knowing that the world is balanced just so. This is the promise of the Goldilocks zone, a place where life could take root, where ecosystems could evolve, where everything is in harmony. But as you drift deeper into the stars, you realize that the Goldilocks zone is not just about temperature. It's about the relationship between the planet and its star. A planet in this zone must also have the right atmosphere, the right mixture of gases to keep the temperatures within the life-sustaining range. Too thick, and the atmosphere traps too much heat. Too thin, and there's no protection from the cold void of space. The balance of these forces must be just right. A delicate interplay of warmth and protection, light and shadow. And yet, the search for planets in the Goldilocks zone is not easy. The universe is vast, and most stars are not like our sun. Some burn too hot, while others are too cool. Some are unstable, flaring with energy that would scorch any planet that came too close. Only the right kind of star, a stable, medium-sized star like the Sun, can host planets in this perfect zone. The search for Earth-like worlds is a careful one, as astronomers scan the skies, searching for that perfect balance. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, a single planet that fits just right in the vast expanse of space. Still, with each discovery, there is a quiet thrill. The more we look, the more we find worlds that could potentially support life. Some may be far out of reach, their conditions just on the edge of the Goldilocks zone, too hot or too cold. Others may be closer, with just the right conditions to foster life. And as we learn more about these worlds, we begin to understand that the universe, though vast, is not a cold and empty place. It is a place of possibility, a place where the balance of life can exist in the most unlikely of places. You feel the gentle pull of this possibility. With each planet discovered, you can imagine what it might be like to stand on that distant world, to feel the warmth of a star shining gently down, to breathe the air of a planet in perfect balance. It is a dream, but it is a dream that seems more real with each passing day. The Goldilocks zone is not just a theory. It is a place that exists out there, waiting to be discovered, waiting for us to find it. And as you float in the quiet of space, you can't help but wonder how many more planets are out there waiting for us to find them. How many more worlds exist in that perfect zone where life might thrive, where the stars shine gently and the balance is just right. The journey to find another Earth is not just about discovery. It is about understanding our place in the universe, about recognizing the delicate balance that sustains life. The Goldilocks zone is not just a location. It is a reminder of how fragile and precious life is. It is a place where everything is aligned. The stars, the planets, the atmosphere, a perfect balance that allows life to unfold. as you drift through this understanding, you begin to feel a sense of peace. The universe is vast, but it is also full of promise, full of possibility. There are worlds out there waiting to be discovered, waiting to show us their secrets. And in the quiet of space, you realize that the journey is just as important as the destination. The Goldilocks zone is a reminder of the delicate balance that sustains life, both on Earth and beyond. But as you drift through space, you wonder, are we alone in this perfect balance? Or are there other worlds just waiting to be discovered, where life could take root? The search for these worlds is just beginning, and with each new discovery, we move closer to understanding our place in the grand cosmic dance. As you float in the stillness of space, a thought emerges, soft but persistent. Is there life out there? The question drifts like a whisper, rising from the depths of curiosity, reaching across the universe with the same quiet yearning that has echoed in the hearts of humans for centuries. It is a question that carries the weight of wonder and hope, a longing for connection that stretches beyond the stars. As you journey through this chapter, you begin to explore how we search for those elusive signs of life, how we listen for them, feel them, search for the faintest clues in the cosmic silence. Life, as we know it, depends on a delicate balance of elements: water, carbon, oxygen. But out here, in the infinite vastness, life may not always look the way we expect. The signs we look for may not be grand or obvious. They may be faint whispers, hidden in the faintest shifts in a planet's atmosphere, subtle changes in the light that hints at something more. And so, the search begins in the most quiet of ways. The tools are not loud or flashy, but patient and precise. Telescopes peer into distant worlds, not looking for life itself, but for the fingerprints that life might leave behind. Imagine, for a moment, a distant planet hidden in the dark expanse of space. The planet orbits its sun, its surface bathed in the soft glow of distant light. But it is not just the planet itself that we are searching for. It is the tiny changes in its atmosphere, the chemicals that are present, that tell the story. Water, oxygen, methane, these are the signatures we look for. They are the signs that life, or at least the conditions necessary for life, might exist. Each molecule that is detected, each shift in the planet's light as it passes in front of its star, tells us more about its potential to harbor life. These faint signals, though quiet, are profound. The search for these signs is not always immediate. It requires patience, for these subtle changes in light, these chemical signatures, can be hard to detect. But over time, with the aid of advanced telescopes and instruments, we begin to hear the faintest echoes of life. It is not a direct conversation with another civilization, but a quiet acknowledgement, a recognition that there may be others out there just waiting to be discovered. As you move through this understanding, you begin to imagine the possibilities. What if we find a planet with the right conditions, where water flows freely, where the atmosphere is thick with the right chemicals, where the temperature is just right? Could it support life? Could it be that, somewhere in the vastness of space, another form of life is living, breathing, existing in a way that is both familiar and yet profoundly different from our own? And yet, you realize that life may not always look like what we expect. We often imagine alien life as something humanoid, something that reflects our own form. But what if life exists in ways we cannot even fathom? What if it exists in the form of microorganisms, thriving in the depths of a distant ocean, or as strange, unknown chemical processes that are entirely different from what we know? The beauty of this search is that it is not confined by our expectations. We are open to the unexpected, to the discovery of life in forms we have yet to imagine. This search for life is not only scientific, but deeply personal. It connects us to the very essence of being, the desire to understand where we come from, where we are going, and whether we are alone in the universe. The search for life is about connection, about finding something beyond ourselves, something that links us to the cosmos. It is a search that speaks to the heart, to the deep longing that exists within each of us to find meaning in the vastness of space. As you drift through this quiet space, you begin to feel the weight of the question: what if we find life?
What
will it mean? Will it change how we see ourselves, our place in the universe? The discovery of life beyond Earth would be profound, yes, but it would also be humbling. It would remind us that we are not the center of the universe, that the story of life is not confined to our small corner of the cosmos, but stretches far beyond, across planets and stars, across galaxies. The search for life, then, is not just about finding another planet to call home. It is about understanding the deeper connections that bind us to the universe, about recognizing that we are part of something much larger, something eternal. Each step in this search is a step closer to understanding what it means to be alive, to be part of this vast, mysterious universe. The quest for life will not be quick, nor will it be easy. It will require patience, persistence, and openness to the unknown. But in the quiet moments of reflection, you feel that it is worth it. Each discovery, each small sign, brings us one step closer to the answer. And though that answer may be far away, the journey itself is enough. The search for signs of life, whether on distant planets or within ourselves, is a journey that connects us to the universe in a way that nothing else can. As the search for life continues, you begin to wonder what the next discovery will be. Will it be a chemical signature, a whisper in the dark, or perhaps something even more unexpected? The universe is vast, and the signs are faint, but with each step we draw closer to the answers, to the possibility that we are not alone, after all. And in that quiet truth, the journey will continue. You float in the calm expanse of space, surrounded by stars that twinkle softly in the distance. It is a peaceful place, where the silence is profound and yet comforting. As you look out into the vastness, you begin to think about the worlds beyond the stars, the distant planets that orbit far-off suns. What lies beneath their clouds? What secrets do their atmospheres hold? The atmosphere of a planet is much more than a layer of gases that keeps the air breathable. It is a living entity in its own right, a complex and dynamic shield that protects the planet, regulates its temperature, and reflects the nature of everything that happens below. On Earth, we have an atmosphere that allows life to thrive, a balance of oxygen, nitrogen, and trace gases that make it possible for plants, animals, and humans to live and breathe. Without this thin veil, Earth would be an uninhabitable world, exposed to the harsh rays of the sun and the icy cold of space. But beyond Earth, the atmospheres of distant planets are not immediately visible. They are invisible to the naked eye. hidden in the vast darkness of space. And yet, these atmospheres hold the key to understanding whether a world could harbor life, or whether it is too extreme to support any form of existence. Through the lens of science, we are learning how to detect these hidden shields, to hear the whispers of the gases that make up a planet's atmosphere, and to listen for the faintest clues that might tell us about the potential for life. The search begins with the light. When a planet passes in front of its star, we observe the way the star's light dims and shifts. This is the moment when an exoplanet is revealed, not directly, but through the subtle effect it has on the light passing through its atmosphere. The light that filters through the atmosphere carries with it information, just as a photograph holds a memory of the moment it was taken. As light passes through the gases of a planet's atmosphere, it interacts with the molecules and atoms, causing them to absorb, reflect, and scatter light in unique patterns. These patterns are the key. They are like fingerprints, revealing the chemical composition of the atmosphere. By studying these patterns, scientists can identify the gases present, whether it's carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, or oxygen. Each gas tells a story. The presence of oxygen, for instance, might suggest that photosynthesis is taking place, or that life, in some form, could be present. Methane, on the other hand, could indicate volcanic activity or the presence of organisms that produce it as part of their metabolism. As you imagine the process of studying these distant worlds, you feel the quiet thrill of discovery. These atmospheres, once hidden in the dark of space, are now coming into focus, revealing their secrets. Some worlds might have thick, toxic atmospheres, filled with gases that make it impossible for life as we know it to exist. Others might have thin, weak atmospheres that offer no protection from the harsh rays of their sun. And some, perhaps, will have atmospheres not unlike our own, balancing just right, with the perfect mix of gases and conditions that could allow life to emerge and thrive. In a sense, the study of atmospheres is the study of the planet itself. The atmosphere is not just a protective shield. It is a reflection of the planet's history. It tells the story of how the planet was formed, how it has evolved, and how it has interacted with its star and its surrounding. Earth's atmosphere, for example, has been shaped by billions of years of geological activity, biological processes, and the steady influence of the sun. The oxygen we breathe, the carbon dioxide we exhale, the weather systems that shape our climate, all are the result of complex interactions between the atmosphere, the surface, and life itself on distant planets. The same processes may be at work, but in ways we cannot yet fully understand. Each atmosphere tells a unique story, one that speaks to the potential for life or the impossibility of it. And as we listen for these signs, we are learning not just about other worlds, but about our own place in the universe. Each discovery, each glimpse into the atmosphere of a distant planet brings us closer to understanding the delicate balance that allows life to exist. But even as we uncover these clues, we realize that there is still so much we do not know. The atmospheres of distant worlds are as varied and unique as the stars they orbit, and each one holds mysteries that are waiting to be uncovered. Some of these worlds may be too extreme to support life, while others may hold the promise of life beyond our imagination. And even on Earth, we continue to learn more about our own atmosphere. about the ways it shapes our world and influences our lives. As you drift in the peaceful silence of space, you feel the weight of this knowledge, that we are part of a larger story, a story that spans the universe itself. The atmospheres of distant planets, like the one we call home, are the guardians of life. They protect, nurture, and shape the conditions for existence. And though we are still searching, still reaching for the answers, you realize that the quest to understand atmospheres is not just about finding new worlds. It is about understanding the very essence of life itself. The search for signs in the atmosphere continues as each planet's unique composition slowly comes into focus. But as you ponder these distant worlds, you wonder, what other secrets might their atmospheres be hiding? Perhaps the answers are closer than we think, waiting for us to listen more closely, to peer deeper into the cosmos. The journey of discovery is far from over. In the quiet expanse of space, there are two silent explorers. They do not speak, they do not make a sound, but they are tirelessly working, their eyes ever watchful, scanning the vastness of the universe for something hidden just beyond our reach. These explorers are not human, yet they are our greatest allies in the search for another Earth. The Kepler Space Telescope and the transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, or TESS, are the modern pioneers, the silent seekers in the grand cosmic story. Kepler, once a quiet observer of the stars, began its journey over a decade ago, and in that time it has changed everything. It scanned a small patch of sky with an unwavering gaze, listening for the subtle signals of distant worlds. With each passing day, it sent back data, revealing worlds that were once hidden in the darkness. These exoplanets, distant and strange, became known to us, not by sight, but through the soft dance of light, the small dimming that occurs when a planet crosses in front of its star. This is how Kepler did its work, not by seeing the planets directly, but by listening for the faintest clues in the light. And with each discovery, Kepler moved us one step closer to understanding the true scale of the universe, and the possibility that we are not alone now. You float alongside TESS, a newer, equally tireless sentinel of the stars. TESS is different from Kepler in that it casts a wider net. It scans the sky with a broader, sweeping gaze, looking for exoplanets across a larger portion of the sky, spanning both the familiar and the unknown. TESS's mission is to search for planets around the closest, brightest stars, the ones most likely to host planets that could harbor life. The promise of TESS is not just in its discoveries, but in its reach, the stars and planets it will bring into focus, opening new windows for our understanding of the cosmos. These two explorers, Kepler and TESS, may seem distant, they're mechanical, eyes fixed on the stars, yet they are intimately connected to the heart of the quest for life beyond Earth. They do not search for the impossible, but for the possible, the planets where life might exist, or where the conditions for life could exist. Their work is not fast or dramatic, but patient and deliberate. They gather data, slowly, steadily, one discovery at a time. Each planet they find is a small step forward, a quiet affirmation that we are not searching in vain, that there is something out there waiting for us to discover it. As you drift in the stillness of space, you imagine the enormity of their work. The Kepler Space Telescope and TESS are like the first explorers who set out across unknown oceans, with nothing but their instruments and their determination to guide them. The ocean they sail is not made of water, but of stars, and the planets they discover are not islands, but worlds, far away and yet so close. Each new planet they uncover is a glimpse into another possibility, another world, another place where life might flourish. These discoveries are not just about science. They are about hope, about reaching out to the stars and saying, "Are we alone?" The promise of Kepler and TESS lies not just in the worlds they've already found, but in the potential they offer. As the years pass, new technologies will help us peer deeper into the vastness, but it is these silent explorers that have paved the way, showing us that the search for life beyond Earth is not a far-off dream, but a real, tangible pursuit. With every planet discovered, we are reminded that the universe is vast, yet it is within our reach. What makes their promise even more powerful is the hope that one day we will find a world just like ours, a planet in the Goldilocks zone, where conditions are just right for life. What if TESS, or a future telescope, reveals a planet where liquid water flows, where the atmosphere is thick with the right gases to sustain life? What if, one day, we look through the lens of a new explorer and see a world that mirrors Earth, with oceans, skies, and perhaps the quiet promise of life? And yet, even as the search continues, you are reminded of the vastness of the task ahead. The journey to discover another Earth is not quick. It requires patience, perseverance, and the understanding that each discovery is part of a much larger picture. With each planet TESS and Kepler reveal, we are given new pieces of the puzzle. The more we discover, the more we learn, not just about other worlds, but about our own. The search for another Earth is not just about finding a new home. It is about understanding what makes life possible, what allows a planet to sustain life, and what the universe can teach us about our place in it. Kepler and TESS are not just tools of discovery. They are bridges between us and the cosmos, showing us that the universe is not a dark, empty place, but a vast, complex system of stars, planets, and possibilities. In the stillness of space, you understand that the promise of these explorers is not just in their discoveries, but in the journey itself. With each new planet, with each new discovery, the universe becomes a little less unknown, a little more familiar. The search for life is a journey that will continue long after the last planet is found, because the greatest discovery is not the planet itself, but the knowledge that the search will never end. The quiet promise of Kepler and TESS lingers in the vastness, a reminder that the search for life, for connection, will continue to unfold. What new worlds will they reveal next, and what secrets will the stars hold for us as we reach ever farther into the unknown? The quest for another Earth continues, with each discovery bringing us closer to the answers we seek. You float quietly in the dark, the stars stretching out before you like pinpricks of light in an infinite sea. It is a beautiful sight, but also one that feels overwhelming. The universe is vast, immeasurably so, and as you contemplate the distances that separate us from distant stars and worlds, you feel a gentle weight on your mind. No matter how far we've come, no matter how many discoveries we've made, there is an undeniable truth. We are only at the beginning of our journey. The universe is far greater than we can comprehend, and the limits of our reach, both in terms of technology and understanding, can feel like insurmountable walls. The stars that you see, those brilliant points of light, are not just far away. They are so distant that their light takes years, sometimes even thousands or millions of years, to reach us. The nearest star to Earth, other than our Sun, is over 4 light-years away. That's over 25 trillion miles a distance, so vast it's nearly impossible to imagine. Light itself, traveling at an incredible speed of 186,000 miles per second, takes over 4 years to travel from that star to Earth. And that is just the closest one. Most of the stars you see twinkling in the night sky are far, far beyond that. Even with the most advanced telescopes, the vastness of space seems to stretch beyond the limits of what we can reach. We have made great strides. Of course, telescopes like Kepler and TESS have revealed thousands of exoplanets, some of which may be Earth-like. But the distance to these planets is still overwhelming. Many of these worlds are hundreds, thousands, or even millions of light-years away. And while we may learn much from studying the light that reaches us, we cannot yet travel to these planets, nor do we have the means to directly study them in detail. As you consider the enormity of the task ahead, it becomes clear that the physical limitations of our technology are a constant challenge. Our fastest spacecraft to date, like the Voyager probes, travel at speeds that seem unfathomably fast to us. Yet, even at these incredible speeds, a journey to the nearest star would take tens of thousands of years. It is a humbling thought, one that reminds us of our own smallness in the grand expanse of the universe. The journey to explore the stars is not something that will be completed in our lifetimes, or even in the lifetimes of many generations to come. But there is something profoundly beautiful in this realization, too. The limits of our reach are not an obstacle to be overcome, but a reminder of the greatness of the universe itself. We are, in a way, reaching toward something beyond our grasp, and that pursuit, that search, is what gives our existence meaning. The very fact that we are capable of wondering about the stars, of seeking out distant worlds, and pondering our place in the cosmos, speaks to something deeply human. It is a reminder that we are part of something much larger, something greater than ourselves. And even though we may never reach those distant planets, we can still connect with them in our minds and hearts through the stories we tell, the science we discover, and the dreams we share. The beauty of space exploration lies in the very limits of our reach. It is in the striving, the searching, the relentless pursuit of answers. Each discovery we make, no matter how small, brings us closer to understanding the vast universe we are part of. And though we may never travel to distant exoplanets or visit far-off stars, we are still making progress, still moving forward in our understanding of the universe. Each new piece of knowledge is a step toward a greater truth, and it brings us closer to understanding not just the cosmos, but ourselves. Yet, even as we stretch our hands toward the stars, we must also confront the reality that we may never know everything. There will always be limits, always be distances too great to cross. There will always be mysteries that remain just beyond our reach, tantalizing but elusive. This is the paradox of exploration. The more we discover, the more we realize how much there is still to learn. The universe is infinite, and our understanding, no matter how vast it becomes, will always be a fraction of what is out there. But there is a quiet peace in this, too. The limits of our reach are not failures. They are simply part of the journey. The universe will always be larger than we can comprehend, and that is what makes it so beautiful, so full of possibility. We are like small explorers drifting in the vast ocean of the cosmos, never quite knowing what lies beyond the horizon, but always reaching toward it. And in that reaching, in that striving, we find meaning, we find purpose, and we find connection to something far greater than ourselves. As you float in the quiet space between stars, you realize that the limits of our reach do not define us. They are not barriers, but reminders. They remind us that the universe is vast, that we are part of something much larger, and that the journey itself is what matters most. The search for answers may take lifetimes, but every step we take brings us closer to understanding the mysteries of the cosmos, and in that quiet progress, we find our place in the great expanse. The limits of our reach are not barriers, but invitations, invitations to keep searching, to keep dreaming, to keep exploring. Though the distances may be vast, each discovery we make brings us closer to understanding the universe's deepest secrets, and perhaps, in the quiet striving, we are already touching the stars. You drift in the stillness of space, surrounded by the gentle hum of the universe, when a quiet thought stirs within you. As vast as the universe is, as far as we've come in our search for distant worlds, the future of exploration feels as limitless as the stars themselves. The horizon of discovery stretches out before us, just out of reach, but still waiting for us to meet it. Each discovery we've made, each planet we've found, has been a small step in a much larger journey. The question now is, what comes next? You sense the excitement of this possibility, a quiet thrill that whispers through your being. The future of space exploration is not something that is far off. It is not a distant dream that will only be realized by future generations. It is unfolding now, right before your eyes. We stand on the cusp of a new era in which technology will unlock doors to distant worlds that once seemed out of reach. With each passing year, new tools are developed, new techniques emerge, and with them, the promise of uncovering more of the universe's secrets. The spacecraft of tomorrow will move faster, their journeys shorter, their missions more precise. Imagine, for a moment, a ship that can travel at a fraction of the speed of light, cutting down the immense distances that separate us from distant exoplanets. The idea of interstellar travel, once reserved for science fiction, is slowly becoming a reality. The theoretical concept of a warp drive, which could bend space itself to allow faster-than-light travel, is now being studied by scientists. It may take decades, or even centuries, before such technologies are realized. But the possibility is there, growing just beyond our reach. In the meantime, we will continue to rely on the ever-growing power of telescopes. Instruments like the James Webb Space Telescope, set to peer deeper into the cosmos than ever before, will reveal galaxies, stars, and planets that are so far away they exist as only faint glimmers in the darkness. Webb's infrared eyes will allow us to see through cosmic dust, uncovering the secrets of distant exoplanets and the possibility of life in ways we've never imagined. It is as if the universe is slowly opening up to us, revealing its wonders. in layers, one discovery at a time. But it is not just in space travel and telescopes that the future of exploration lies. As we learn more about the exoplanets we discover, new technologies will allow us to study their atmospheres, their surfaces, and even their potential to support life. The development of new spectroscopic tools will help us detect the faintest signs of water, oxygen, methane, and other life-sustaining chemicals. Perhaps, one day, we will have the capability to study the detailed composition of distant atmospheres, listen to the whispers of their gases, and understand whether life could exist there. You can almost feel the excitement of this future. Each new breakthrough, each new discovery will feel like a small piece of a much larger puzzle falling into place. And yet, even as we move forward with such rapid technological advancements, you realize that the greatest driving force behind our exploration of space is not technology alone. It is the human spirit, our innate curiosity, our desire to explore, to understand, to reach beyond what we know. It is the same drive that led our ancestors to cross oceans and climb mountains, to look up at the stars and wonder what lies beyond. This spirit, this hunger for knowledge, is what propels us forward into the unknown. The future of exploration will not just be about machines or instruments. It will be about our shared journey as a species. It will be about the dreams we dare to dream, the questions we continue to ask, and the possibilities we create together. It is not just about finding new planets or new galaxies. It is about finding new ways to understand our place in the cosmos. It is about connecting with something greater than ourselves, not just in space, but in each other, in our shared desire to discover, to learn, and to grow. You begin to realize that the future of space exploration is not just about what we will discover. It is about how we will discover it, the ways in which we will use our creativity, our compassion, and our collaboration to unravel the mysteries of the universe. Imagine a future where humans and machines work together in harmony, where space stations and colonies on distant worlds are not just dreams, but tangible, thriving communities. Perhaps one day, humanity will stretch its arms beyond Earth, not just to visit distant planets, but to live among the stars, carrying with us the knowledge, wisdom, and hope we have gathered through centuries of discovery. As you drift deeper into this vision of the future, you understand that the journey of exploration is not just about the destination, but about the path we take to get there. The future of exploration is not defined by the stars we reach, but by the hearts and minds that are open to the unknown. It is about the belief that we are all part of something greater, a vast, beautiful, and interconnected universe, one that we are only beginning to understand. And so, the journey continues. With each new technology, each new discovery, we take one step closer to the stars. And in that journey, we are not just exploring the universe, we are exploring ourselves, our capacity for wonder, for curiosity, for connection. As we look toward the future, we are reminded that the universe is a place of endless possibility, and that with each new step we take, we are writing the next chapter in the story of exploration. As the future of exploration unfolds, you wonder, what will we find when we reach the stars? Will we uncover new worlds or new ways of understanding our own? The journey ahead is full of promise, a promise that the greatest discoveries are still to come. The universe is vast, and our path is just beginning to take shape. What wonders await us just beyond the horizon? You float in the quiet vastness, a gentle hum surrounding you when the thought rises, soft and profound. What would it mean to find another Earth? In the distance, beyond the stars, there may exist a world just like ours, spinning in perfect harmony around a distant star. This thought stirs something deep within you, a quiet longing, a spark of wonder. The possibility of another Earth raises questions, not just about science, but about everything we know, everything we believe, about our place in the cosmos. As you drift in space, you begin to imagine what such a discovery would feel like. Earth, our home, has been a cradle for life, a delicate blue planet where water flows, where air fills our lungs, where the sun rises and sets every day. It is a world of balance, of life, of connections, not just among the creatures that call it home, but with the stars and the universe itself. But what if there is another world out there, just as balanced, just as life-sustaining, orbiting its own star, waiting for us to find it? How would that change our understanding of life, of existence, of the very fabric of the universe? At first, the idea seems almost impossible to grasp. Earth is so unique, so precious, that the thought of another world, a twin planet, a mirror of our own, feels like something beyond reach. The search for another Earth has been a quiet, patient journey. Telescopes like Kepler and TESS have revealed thousands of exoplanets, some in the Goldilocks zone where life might exist. But each discovery feels like a tiny step in a much larger journey. Yet, with every new planet found, the dream of another Earth becomes a little more real, a little less distant. If we were to find another Earth, it would be a momentous event. It would challenge everything we know about life, about the universe, and about ourselves. At its core, this discovery would show us that we are not alone in the cosmos. It would affirm that life, as we know it, is not a rare accident, but something that can emerge wherever the right conditions exist. We would no longer be the lone beacon of life in the vast darkness of space. We would be part of a much larger, cosmic community, one where life has flourished not just on Earth, but elsewhere in the universe as well. But the implications of finding another Earth are not just scientific. They are deeply emotional, deeply philosophical. To find another world so like our own would force us to reconsider our place in the cosmos. How would we feel knowing that there is another world out there with oceans, skies, and land just like Earth? Or would we feel a sense of isolation, realizing that our home is not the only place in the universe that matters? For some, the discovery of another Earth would be a reminder of our responsibility to care for our own world. If we found another planet that could sustain life, it would highlight the preciousness of what we have here on Earth and the need to protect it. Perhaps it would give us a new sense of purpose, a renewed commitment to preserving the delicate balance that allows life to thrive. Perhaps it would be a wake-up call, reminding us that we are part of something larger than ourselves, that our actions here on Earth have consequences that extend far beyond our planet. For others, the discovery would raise even deeper questions. What would life on another Earth look like? Would it be exactly like our own, with human beings living and thriving? Or would it be different, a world with different life forms, different ecosystems, different ways of existing. The possibility of another Earth would open up the idea that life could emerge in forms we cannot yet imagine. It would be a humbling reminder that the universe is far more complex than we can comprehend, and that life itself is a force that stretches far beyond our understanding. As you float through this thought, you realize that the discovery of another Earth is not just about finding a new home, a new planet to inhabit. It is about something much deeper, the realization that life is a shared experience, that we are part of a greater cosmic story that connects us to the universe itself. Whether or not we ever travel to another Earth, this discovery would force us to reframe our understanding of what it means to be human. It would challenge our beliefs, our identities, and our sense of purpose in the grand expanse of space. The discovery would also spark new questions. Could we visit another Earth? Could we communicate with its inhabitants, if there are any? What if we found that it was already home to intelligent life, life that had developed in its own unique way? How would we connect with them? The possibilities are endless, and with each passing year, with each new discovery, the answers seem to move just a little closer. But no matter the outcome, you realize that the search for another Earth is not just about the destination. It is about the journey, the questions we ask, the discoveries we make, and the sense of wonder that drives us to reach beyond our world, beyond ourselves. The search for another Earth is a reflection of our deepest yearnings, our desire to understand our place in the universe, and our hope that we are part of something much larger than we can see. And so, as you float in the silent vastness, the question lingers in the back of your mind. What would it mean to find another Earth? Would it change everything, or would it simply be the beginning of a new chapter in the ongoing story of exploration? Whatever the answer, you sense that this discovery would bring us closer to understanding the universe and our place in it, and that, in itself, is enough to keep reaching for the stars. The discovery of another Earth would be a moment that changes everything, not just in what we know, but in who we are. Perhaps, in finding another world, we will find ourselves, too. The journey to the stars continues, with each new discovery, bringing us closer to understanding the vast, beautiful mystery that connects us all. What will we find next, and what will it teach us about life, about the universe, and about each other?